There is a street in Istanbul where the spirit of the city walks beside you. Not a quiet street, not a shy one. It hums with energy, whispers with nostalgia, and sings in languages you can't always name, but somehow still understand. This street doesn't need introductions. It is a feeling more than a place. It's where Istanbul breathes in and out, steady, rhythmic, and alive. This is Istiklal Street. Stretching through the beating heart of the Beyoğlu district, Istiklal is more than just a pedestrian avenue. It's a living, breathing poem of the city, always in motion, always evolving, always inviting you to walk a little slower and feel a little more. The pulse of the people. Istiklal is never empty. Even in the early morning hours when shop shutters are still drawn and delivery trucks hum in the distance, the street has its quiet inhabitants. The bagel seller arranging fresh sesame-crusted rings, the cat that's claimed its favorite doorstep, the cleaning staff sweeping yesterday's footprints into tomorrow's promise. As the sun rises higher, the street transforms. Students on their way to classes, artists carrying rolled-up canvases, elderly gentlemen dressed with old-fashioned care, tourists looking up in wonder, they all become part of the current. Languages blend in the air. Footsteps become a soundtrack. You don't just walk along Istiklal, you become part of its movement, part of its story. Everyone has a place here. Whether you're a silent observer or a lively participant, Istiklal welcomes you into its embrace, like an old friend who doesn't ask where you've been. As you stroll along the cobblestone path, take a moment to lift your gaze. Don't rush. The buildings here have something to tell you. Faded facades hold secrets in their cracks. Ornate balconies lean slightly forward, as if straining to hear the street's eternal conversation. Behind every window, there's a possibility of a family dinner, a forgotten piano, a lonely writer tapping away at their thoughts. Istiklal's architecture is like a scrapbook of eras. You'll sense whispers of the Ottoman past, feel the firm presence of the early republic, and recognize the subtle fingerprints of European influence, all layered like stories in an old diary. But this isn't a place frozen in time. It adapts, renovates, reinvents. Still, the bones remain, proud and poetic. What makes Istiklal so unforgettable isn't just its size or fame. It's the tiny, unplanned moments that surprise you between the larger scenes. A violinist playing something so heartbreakingly beautiful that strangers pause mid-step, held by invisible strings. A young couple sharing a quiet laugh beside a mural. A child chasing pigeons through a puddle, splashing both water and joy. There's a cafe tucked into an alleyway where the air smells of strong tea and worn books. The waiter there remembers regulars by the way they stir their sugar. A few steps away, a tailor's tiny shop stands like a time capsule, the same dusty sewing machine working away beneath a bare light bulb. And then there are the voices, poets, protesters, lovers, philosophers, all speaking at once, sometimes loudly, sometimes in silence. Istiklal doesn't ask you to be anything but real. Whether you're joyful, lonely, lost, or simply curious, you belong here. As the sky begins to dim and the call to prayer mingles with the laughter of friends meeting after work, Istiklal takes on a golden glow. Shadows stretch. Streetlights blink awake. There's a different rhythm now, slower in some ways, more intimate. Couples hold hands, weaving quietly through the crowd. Groups gather at street corners, their voices rising and falling like a chorus. Cafes spill onto sidewalks. Steam from coffee cups meets the cool night air. There's music again, but now it's jazz drifting from a smoky second-floor bar or soft acoustic melodies from a solo guitarist by the tram tracks. The air is filled with the scent of roasted chestnuts and something sweet, maybe rosewater, maybe nostalgia. You can feel the city exhale. And even as the hour grows late, there's never a sense that Istiklal is winding down. It simply changes attire. By midnight, it's a poet in velvet, a painter with wild eyes, a dreamer still wide awake. One of Istiklal's greatest gifts is its ability to let you communicate without language. You may not speak Turkish. You may not know the street's history. You may not have a destination in mind, but you'll still find connection here. A smile exchanged while buying sunflower seeds. A nod from a man sharing your bench. A cat brushing against your ankle like it's known you forever. Sometimes, a single moment on Istiklal can feel like an entire novel. It's the young artist offering you a sketch not for money, but for the joy of sharing their work. It's the elderly woman who hands you a tulip from her basket just because you look like you need one. It's the street performer who catches your eye during a dance and holds your gaze like a secret. You won't always know what's being said, but you'll understand what's being felt. When people talk about Istanbul, they often mention mosques, palaces, and markets. But when you ask them what they felt in the city, it's often Istiklal they remember, though they may not always name it. It's the heartbeat they heard while walking without knowing where they were going. It's the sense that the city had turned its full attention to them for just a moment. It's the way time seemed to both fly and stand still. Istiklal doesn't need a destination. In fact, the best way to experience it is to put away your map, forget the guidebooks, and simply wander. Let your feet guide you. Let your senses take over. Because somewhere between the scent of roasting chestnuts and the sound of a distant guitar, between the laughter of teenagers and the soft shuffle of an old man's shoes, you'll find it. That quiet, certain feeling. You're not just walking down a street. You're part of Istanbul now.